His fingers, cold and unfeeling, trace the jagged scar that splits my cheek. The diamond on his engagement ring, a stone I helped him choose, catches the sterile light of my apartment, glinting like a shard of ice. "No one will ever want damaged goods like you, Elena," he whispers. The words are soft, almost a caress, but they land like a punch to the gut. The metallic taste of betrayal floods my mouth. It's a flavor I'm getting used to. His cologne, a rich sandalwood scent I once found intoxicating, now clings to the air like a shroud, suffocating me with the stench of his lies. It's the scent he wore the night of the fire. It's the scent he wore last week when he swore Victoria was just a friend, a colleague, nothing to worry about. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic, trapped bird. It's not the flutter of love anymore, not the gentle rhythm that used to beat in time with his. This is a panicked, ragged tempo, a drumbeat of pure, sharp realization. 3 years. 3 years of my life, of shared dreams and whispered secrets, of building a future that has just been condemned and demolished in a single sentence. It all meant nothing to him. I was just an investment that went bad, a stock that crashed, something to be discarded. Damaged goods. His words echo in the space between us, a space that suddenly feels like a chasm. I look at him, really look at him, and I don't see the man I loved. I see a stranger wearing his face, a beautiful, cruel mask. His eyes, the color of warm honey, are cold and distant. His smile, the one that used to make my knees weak, is a thin, condescending line. He's already gone. He left me long ago, probably somewhere in the smoke and the ashes. On my nightstand, propped against a framed photo of us in happier times, sits the evidence of his new life. A thick, cream-colored card, embossed with gold lettering that feels like a mockery. Marcus and Victoria request the pleasure of your company at the celebration of their marriage. Tomorrow at sunset. The timing is so deliberate, so viciously precise, it could only have been designed to inflict the maximum amount of pain. While the sun sets on his new beginning, it's meant to set on my life, leaving me in the permanent twilight of my disfigurement and his rejection. I don't have to look in a mirror to feel the roadmap of my ruin. My hand instinctively goes to my neck, my fingers brushing against the tight, puckered skin of the burn scars. They snake up my jawline, a permanent necklace of pain, and blossom across my left arm, a grotesque tapestry that tells a story of fire and sacrifice. I remember the warehouse. The acrid smell of burning chemicals, the blistering heat that felt like it was melting my skin from my bones. I remember the sound of his sister Clara screaming my name from behind a wall of fallen, flaming debris. Marcus had been outside, frozen in panic. I was the one who ran back in. I was the one who dragged his sister out, shielding her small body with my own as the roof collapsed. He had called me his hero then. He had held my hand in the sterile white hospital room, tears in his eyes, and promised me forever. He said my scars were a testament to my bravery, a mark of my love. He lied. They weren't a testament. They were a blemish, a flaw in the perfect life he was designing for himself. And now I am being written out of the story. "I'll have my things moved out by the end of the week," he says, his voice crisp and businesslike, as if he's finalizing a merger, not ending a life. He pulls his hand away from my face, wiping his fingers on his trousers as if he's touched something unclean. He turns and walks to the door, not looking back. The click of the lock behind him is the sound of a final punctuation mark. A full stop. The end. I stand there for a long time, the silence of the room pressing in on me. The city lights twinkle outside my window, indifferent to the implosion of my world. Tomorrow at sunset. The words are a ticking clock, counting down the seconds to my complete and utter humiliation. He expects me to crumble. He expects me to hide away in the dark, nursing my wounds and my broken heart, a monster too hideous to be seen in the light of his perfect day. He thinks he's won. He thinks he's left me with nothing. But in the ruins, something else is beginning to smolder. Not grief, not despair. It's a different kind of heat. A slow-burning, white-hot rage. He didn't just break my heart, he set me on fire and then complained about the ashes. The timer isn't counting down to my defeat, it's counting down to my rebirth. The clock on the wall reads 3 a.m. The city is asleep, shrouded in a quiet darkness that mirrors the emptiness inside me. But I am wide awake. My movements are precise, deliberate. The grief has been cauterized, burned away by the fury that now courses through my veins. I pull my laptop from its bag, my fingers flying across the keyboard, my mind a cold, clear machine. I still have the access codes. In his haste to discard me, Marcus had forgotten the small details, the digital tendrils of our lives that were still intertwined. His entire life was backed up on a cloud server I had set up for him. Medical records, financial statements, emails, everything. Finding his medical files is easy. A folder labeled personal and confidential. The irony makes a bitter smile touch my lips. There it is. Blood type, genetic markers, stem cell viability reports from a physical 2 years ago. Everything Dr. Chen would need. I download the encrypted files onto a secure drive, the progress bar a slow, steady crawl toward justice. Then, I pick up my phone. My thumb hovers over the contact name, Dr. Chen. He was the lead plastic surgeon on my case, a brilliant but controversial scientist who had pushed the boundaries of reconstructive surgery to piece me back together. But it was his private research, the work he did off the books, that I was interested in now. He had spoken of it once, in hushed tones, after my final skin graft. A theoretical treatment, an experimental cellular regeneration process that was years away from human trials. He called it dangerous, unpredictable. He called it the future. My finger presses down. The phone rings twice before a groggy voice answers. Chen. It's Elena, I say. My voice is steady as steel, a tone I don't recognize as my own. It's devoid of the tremor that has haunted it for months. Elena, it's 3 a.m. Is everything all right? There's a rustling sound, the sound of him sitting up in bed. I want the experimental regeneration treatment, I state. No room for argument in my voice. All of it, starting now. A heavy silence hangs on the line. I can almost hear the gears turning in his brilliant mind, the calculations, the weighing of ethics against possibility. Elena, we talked about this. It's not ready. The risks are... I don't care about risks anymore. I cut him off, the vehemence in my own voice surprising me. It's a raw, powerful thing. I care about justice. You told me it was possible. You told me the only thing holding you back was sourcing a compatible cellular matrix. A perfect donor match. Theoretically, yes, but finding a 1 in a million genetic match to cultivate the base serum is... I have him, I say simply. I have the donor, all his medical data, his stem cell profiles, everything, encrypted on a drive in my hand. Another pause, this one charged with a different energy. Not just concern, but scientific curiosity. The allure of the impossible. Elena, whose files do you have? Marcus's. The name hangs in the air between us. Dr. Chen knew our story. He had seen Marcus at my bedside, playing the part of the devoted fiancé. He had also seen the change in Marcus's visits, the slow, agonizing withdrawal. He is too professional to have ever said anything, but he is a perceptive man, he knows. Using a patient's genetic material without their consent is a line I cannot cross, he says, his voice firm, but I hear the undertone of temptation. He gave his consent, I lie, the words tasting like ash. He signed a blanket medical release for me when I was admitted. It gives me authority over anything related to my recovery. This is related to my recovery. It's a stretch, a wild perversion of the truth, but it's a sliver of plausibility I'm clinging to. Look, doctor, he left me. He's getting married tomorrow to the woman he was cheating on me with. He told me my scars made me unmarriageable. He told me I was damaged goods. I let the raw, ugly truth of it land. I hear him take a sharp breath. I have played my final card. Not an appeal to his ambition, but to his humanity. The process? It would be excruciating, he warns, his voice softer now. It forces the body into a state of hyper-regeneration. It would feel like you are burning all over again, and if it fails, it could cause irreversible cellular decay. It could be a death sentence. Being left like this is a death sentence, I retort, a slow one, in a prison of my own skin, built by his betrayal. I'll take my chances with the fire. At least it's honest. A long, deep sigh travels through the phone. My private lab. Be there in an hour. Don't speak to anyone. He hangs up. I look at the clock. 23 hours. 23 hours until Marcus stands at the altar and vows to love and honor Victoria. The clock is ticking. For the first time since he walked out, I feel a surge of something other than pain or rage. I feel power. He used my body as a shield for his family. Now I will use his body, his very genetic code, as the weapon for my revenge. The spare key is cold in my palm, a ghost of a life that is no longer mine. It slides into the lock of Victoria's penthouse with a familiar ease that makes my stomach churn. Marcus never asked for it back. An oversight, or just another testament to how little I mattered, how little a threat he considered me to be? The thought fuels the icy resolve crystallizing in my veins. The penthouse is a monument to their shared deceit. Gleaming white marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing a glittering, indifferent city. And everywhere, the signs of a wedding in its final, frantic stages of preparation. A mountain of white gift boxes is stacked in one corner. Bouquets of lilies and roses, their cloying scent thick in the air, sit in enormous vases. A pristine white runner, destined for the cathedral aisle, is rolled up against a wall. It all gleams with the polish of my suffering. I slip past a flustered catering manager on the phone and move silently toward the balcony, my footsteps swallowed by a plush Moroccan rug I recognize. It was supposed to be for our living room. Through the glass doors, I see him. Marcus. He's already in his tuxedo, a silhouette of tailored perfection against the city lights. He looks every bit the handsome, successful groom, a lie in a well-cut suit. He's on the phone, his back to me, his voice a low, intimate murmur. I press myself into the shadows of the hallway, my breath held tight in my chest. I can hear him clearly through the slightly ajar door. "No, of course she won't find out," he's saying, a note of amusement in his voice. "The insurance money from Elena's accident funded everything. The payout was significant. More than enough for this wedding and a down payment on the house in the Hamptons." My blood runs cold. The insurance policy. It was a standard workplace policy, but with a high-risk clause, because of the chemicals stored in the warehouse. The payout for my injuries? He hadn't just accepted it. He had used it. He had built this new life with Victoria on the foundation of my pain, paid for with the currency of my scars. The balcony door slides open wider, and Victoria glides out to join him. She's a vision in a silk robe, her blonde hair perfectly coiffed, her face a mask of smug satisfaction. She wraps her arms around his neck, pressing a kiss to his cheek. "Who are you talking to, darling?" she purrs, her voice like honey laced with venom. "Just finalizing the last payment for the caterer." He lies smoothly, ending the call. He turns to her, and the look they share is one of private, shared victory. "She was always so trusting," Victoria continues, her fingers playing with the lapel of his tuxedo. "So grateful for any little scrap of affection you threw her way. It was almost pathetic." "It made things easy," Marcus agrees, his voice devoid of any emotion. He sips from a glass of whiskey that sits on the railing. "She worshipped me, especially after the fire. The hero fiancé. She would have done anything for me." "And she did," Victoria says with a little laugh. "She practically gift-wrapped our future for us." My hand clenches into a fist, my nails digging into my scarred palm. I force myself to stay still, to listen, to absorb every poisonous word. This is my fuel. This is my justification. "What if she shows up tomorrow?" Victoria asks, a flicker of concern crossing her perfect face. "What if she makes a scene?" "I don't want that. That freak ruining our day looking the way she does." The word hangs in the air, freak. Marcus lets out a short, dismissive laugh. It's a sound that will be burned into my memory forever. "Don't worry about it. Security will handle her. I've already spoken to the head of the team at the cathedral, gave them her photo, described the scars. They have instructions. She won't even make it past the front doors. I've made arrangements." Chilling, casual cruelty. He's not just discarding me. He's treating me like a security threat, a piece of trash to be swept away from his pristine new life. He's barring me from the very event paid for by my own disfigurement. The city sprawls below them, a silent, cold witness, It's millions of lights like tiny, sharp diamonds. It matches the ice that is no longer just crystallizing in my veins, but hardening into something solid, something unbreakable. I watch them for another moment. They toast their glasses, the crystal ringing softly in the night air. A toast to their future, built on my past. A toast to their beauty, paid for by my scars. I slip back from the door, my movements as silent as a predator. They are so confident, so secure in their cruelty. They have no idea what's coming. They think they've arranged for security. They think they can keep the freak away. But the freak has a key, and a plan, and a fire of her own. Dr. Chen's private lab is a world away from the opulent prison of Victoria's penthouse. It's subterranean, sterile, and smells of antiseptic and ozone. The only light comes from the cold, blue glow of monitors displaying my vital signs and a complex series of genetic sequences. I lie on a medical bed, stripped down to a thin gown, the familiar terrain of my scars exposed to the clinical air. This time, however, there is no pity in the room, only purpose. The serum is synthesized, Dr. Chen says, his voice a low hum of nervous excitement. He holds up a syringe filled with a pearlescent, shimmering liquid. It looks otherworldly. Derived from Marcus's stem cell matrix and bioengineered with a catalyst of my own design. Once this enters your system, there is no turning back. The process will begin immediately. I look at the fluid, my so-called cure. It's beautiful and terrifying. I'm ready, I say, my voice betraying none of the fear coiling in my stomach. He nods, his expression a mixture of scientific focus and genuine concern. Elena, I have to say this one last time. This is not just a cosmetic procedure. We are forcing your cells to rewrite their history. The pain will be immense. It will feel like the fire, but from the inside out, your body will fight it. You have to be stronger than your own biology. My biology is what he hated, I say, my eyes fixed on the ceiling. Let it burn. He finds a vein in my unscarred right arm, his touch gentle and professional. I'll administer a sedative to manage the initial shock, but you'll need to be conscious for most of it. I have to monitor your cognitive responses. The brain is the one thing we can't predict. He looks me directly in the eyes. Stay with me, Elena. Whatever happens, you have to fight to stay present. I give him a sharp, determined nod. He depresses the plunger. The serum floods my system like liquid fire. For a moment, there's nothing. Then, a deep, cellular cold spreads through me, followed by a prickling heat that starts in my fingertips and toes. It's 1,000 tiny needles igniting under my skin. The sedative does little to dull the sensation as it intensifies, growing from a prickle to a burn to an inferno. A silent scream builds in my throat, but I choke it back. My jaw clenched so tight I feel like my teeth might crack. My body convulses. The monitors beside me begin to shriek, their calm blue lines turning into frantic, jagged peaks of red. Vitals are spiking. Her temperature is climbing at an exponential rate. Dr. Chen barks to himself, his fingers flying across a keyboard, adjusting dosages of stabilizers I can feel entering my system through another IV. This time, the burning means rebirth. I cling to that thought like a prayer. Every wave of agony that washes over me is not destruction, but creation. The fire isn't consuming me. It's forging me anew. I focus on Marcus's face, on Victoria's smug smile. I picture his words, damaged goods, and her laugh. The rage is a better painkiller than any drug. It's a focal point in the storm of agony. Hours pass in a blur of pain and semi-consciousness. I drift, seeing flashes of the warehouse fire, feeling the heat on my back, but this time I'm not running from it. I'm walking through it, untouched. I see Marcus's face in the flames, twisting in betrayal. I see Victoria laughing as she pours gasoline on the blaze. The visions are a fever dream, my mind trying to process the trauma my body is now physically erasing. Through it all, Dr. Chen's voice is a constant anchor. Stay with me, Elena. Heart rate is stabilizing. Cellular regeneration is at 40%. The scar tissue is breaking down. It's working. At some point, the intense, agonizing burn subsides into a deep, pervasive tingling, like my entire body has fallen asleep and is just now waking up. The pain is gone, replaced by a strange, humming energy. I feel new. I feel light. Elena? Dr. Chen's voice is soft, close. Can you open your eyes? I do. The lab is dim, but the harsh fluorescent lights don't seem to bother me as much. I feel rested. More than rested. I feel powerful. I sit up slowly, my body moving with an unfamiliar grace. The hospital gown feels loose, strange against my skin. My skin. I look down at my left arm, the arm that bore the worst of the damage. The grotesque tapestry of puckered, discolored tissue is gone. In its place is smooth, flawless skin. It's pale, unmarked, as if it has never known a single moment of pain. I run my right hand over it, the sensation surreal. It's my arm, but it's not. It's the arm of a girl who never ran into a fire. The mirror, I whisper, my voice hoarse. Dr. Chen helps me off the bed, his expression one of pure, unadulterated awe. He looks like a man who has just witnessed a miracle. He leads me to a full-length mirror on the far wall of the lab. I stand before it, my heart pounding a slow, steady rhythm. The woman staring back at me is me, but a version of me I thought was lost forever. The jagged scar on my cheek is gone. The burn marks that snaked up my neck have vanished. My skin is luminous, perfect. Every trace of the fire, every physical mark of my sacrifice and his betrayal has been erased. I am a blank slate. The tears that come are not of sorrow, but of a profound, overwhelming sense of release. I am no longer defined by what was done to me. I am no longer a walking monument to my own pain. It's perfect, I breathe, touching my cheek. More than perfect, Dr. Chen says, looking at his readouts. The serum didn't just heal you, Elena. It optimized you. Your cellular structure is stronger, more resilient than before. It's remarkable. I look at my reflection, and for the first time in a long time, I see not a victim, but a survivor. No, more than a survivor. A weapon. Polished, perfected, and aimed directly at the heart of the man who thought he had destroyed me. As Dr. Chen goes to get me some clothes, my eyes land on my purse. Inside is the small velvet box I had found while packing up my things from the apartment I shared with Marcus. I had forgotten about it in the rush. Now my fingers close around it. I know what's inside. I click it open. There, nestled on a bed of black velvet, is a necklace. A delicate platinum chain holding a single, flawless, pear-shaped diamond. It's the very necklace we had seen in a jewelry store window 6 months ago, the one I had fallen in love with. The one Marcus had claimed was too extravagant, too expensive for a simple birthday gift. And on the back of the box, a small, discreet gift tag from the jeweler. It reads, "For my dearest Victoria, forever yours, M." It's her wedding gift. He bought it the same week he told me we couldn't afford it. The same week I was recovering from my 3rd skin graft surgery. The final piece of my resolve clicks into place. This isn't just about the scars on my skin anymore. It's about the scars on my soul. He tried to erase me, to reduce me to nothing but a painful memory and a source of funding. By dawn, as the first rays of his wedding day streak the sky, I am completely healed and completely, irrevocably, ready for war. The bridal suite at the Grand Cathedral Hotel is a symphony of controlled chaos. Steams of white tulle hang from every available surface. Champagne flutes sit half empty on a vanity cluttered with expensive makeup, and a gaggle of bridesmaids in matching silk robes flutter around, their laughter high and brittle. The air is thick with hairspray and the nervous energy of a day that has been meticulously planned and exorbitantly paid for. I stride into the heart of it, and the room falls silent. The bridesmaids freeze, their champagne glasses paused midair. The makeup artist's brush halts an inch from a powdered cheek. Every eye is on me. I am wearing the dress, a simple, elegant sheath of ivory silk by designer Marcus once said, "I'd never have the figure or the grace to wear." On me now, it looks like it was spun from moonlight and tailored by the gods. My hair is down, sleek and dark against the pale perfection of my skin. My face, my neck, my arms, all are flawless canvases, betraying no history of fire or pain. I am an apparition of the woman he swore I could never be. Victoria is sitting at the vanity, a hairdresser putting the final touches on an elaborate updo. She sees my reflection in the mirror first. Her jaw goes slack. The color drains from her perfectly made-up face, leaving her looking like a garish doll. She whirls around in her chair, her eyes wide with disbelief and something else. Fear. "Hello, Victoria," I say, my voice calm and even. "Surprised to see me?" "You," she stammers, her voice a strangled whisper. "That's impossible. You're supposed to be disfigured?" I finish for her, taking a slow step into the room. The bridesmaids shrink back as if I am a phantom. Hiding in my apartment, weeping into my scarred pillows? That was the plan, wasn't it? "Elena, what have you done to yourself?" she asks, her eyes scanning my face, my arms, searching for the familiar landscape of my wounds. She finds nothing but smooth, unblemished skin. The sight seems to terrify her more than the scars ever could have. "I became everything you said I couldn't be," I say, my voice dropping to a confidential murmur, though it carries across the silent room. I stop directly in front of her vanity. Perfect, healed, and ready for my revenge. Her fear hardens into defiance. A sneer twists her lips. "Revenge! Don't be ridiculous, you're pathetic. Get out of here before I call security and have you thrown out. Marcus told me you might try something like this." "Oh, I'm sure he did," I say with a small, cold smile. "He's very good at making arrangements to dispose of his problems." I reach into the designer handbag that hangs from my arm, another little extravagance I bought myself this morning, and pull out a sheaf of papers. I slide them across the polished surface of her vanity, right next to a diamond-encrusted hair comb. Speaking of problems, Victoria glances down. Her eyes narrow as she recognizes the letterhead of the insurance company. Her gaze scans the columns of figures, the claim numbers, the payout details. I see the moment the understanding dawns, the moment her carefully constructed composure begins to crack. Funny how arson investigations can be reopened when new evidence surfaces, I say conversationally, as if we're discussing the weather. An anonymous tip, perhaps. Or a witness who was previously too traumatized to speak clearly. A witness who now remembers, with perfect clarity, the distinct smell of an accelerant right before the fire broke out. A witness who remembers the exit door being locked from the outside. Victoria looks up at me, her face a mask of panic. "You're bluffing. You have no proof." "Don't I?" I lean in closer, my voice a blade. "You and Marcus were so careless, so arrogant. You funneled the insurance money through a shell corporation he set up last year. The same corporation used to pay the deposit on this hotel. The same one that paid for that obscenely large diamond on your finger. It's not a money trail, Victoria. It's a superhighway, and I have the map." One of the bridesmaids makes a small, nervous sound. Victoria shoots her a look that could curdle milk. "Get out!" Victoria hisses at me, her voice trembling with rage. "Get out now!" I straighten up, glancing at the ornate clock on the wall. The wedding starts in 2 hours. That's plenty of time for the lead investigator to get here from the downtown precinct. I wonder what the guests will think when the groom is escorted from the altar in handcuffs. It might put a bit of a damper on the reception. I let the image hang in the air. The perfect wedding, shattered. The society event of the season, turned into a crime scene. "What do you want, Elena?" she finally asks, her voice defeated. She knows I have her. "Want?" I let out a soft laugh. It's not a happy sound. "Oh, Victoria, I don't want anything from you. I'm not here to negotiate. I'm here to inform you. I'm here to watch the world you stole from me burn to the ground, just like you watched mine." I turn my back on her, my ivory dress flowing around me. At the door, I pause and look over my shoulder. "You might want to rethink the dress," I say, my eyes flicking over her extravagant beaded gown hanging in the corner. "I hear prison jumpsuits are a rather unflattering shade of orange. It will clash horribly with your hair." I walk out, leaving a crater of stunned silence behind me. The clock is ticking. 2 hours. But for them, time has just run out. The great doors of the cathedral swing open. A hush falls over the congregation, a collective intake of breath that seems to suck the very air from the vaulted space. The organ music, a triumphant, soaring melody, falters for a moment before resuming, now sounding less like a celebration and more like a dirge. I walk down the aisle, alone. I am a vision in pristine white, the same shade as the dress hanging in Victoria's suite, but mine is simple, stark, and powerful. Every head turns. Every guest gasps. Whispers erupt like wildfire through the pews. Is that Elena? What happened to her scars? My God, she's beautiful. I see the faces of their friends, their family, people who had pitied me, who had whispered about my tragedy behind their hands, who had looked at me with a mixture of sympathy and revulsion. Now they look at me with awe and confusion. I am an impossibility made flesh. My eyes are fixed on the end of the aisle, on the man standing at the altar. Marcus. His back was to the door, but the sudden silence and the wave of whispers made him turn. His face is a mask of utter shock, his jaw tight, his skin pale beneath his tan. His eyes, those honey-colored pools of deceit, are wide with disbelief. He looks at me as if he's seeing a ghost, the ghost of the woman he tried to bury. His frozen smile is a grotesque caricature of happiness. Next to him, Victoria looks like she's about to faint. Her face is ashen, her eyes darting between me and Marcus, her panic palpable even from this distance. I reach the altar and stop, turning to face him directly. The space between us crackles with unspoken history and imminent destruction. You look stunning, Elena, Marcus snarls through his clenched teeth, his voice a low, vicious hiss meant only for me. But you're interrupting my wedding. I give him a serene smile. Your wedding? I say, my voice clear and carrying through the silent cathedral, amplified by the perfect acoustics. You mean the wedding funded by insurance fraud? The celebration paid for by my pain? I think I have a right to be here. After all, I'm the primary investor. A wave of murmurs sweeps through the crowd. Marcus's face darkens with fury. Elena, you're delusional, he says, trying to regain control, to paint me as the crazy ex-girlfriend. You're still recovering from your trauma. You don't know what you're saying. Oh, I know exactly what I'm saying, I reply, my voice ringing with a terrible clarity. Why don't you tell them, Marcus? Tell them all about the warehouse fire. I gesture to the assembled guests, our friends, his parents, his sister Clara, who sits in the front row looking pale and confused. Tell them how you were so brave. This isn't the time or the place, Elena, he says, grabbing my arm. His grip is like iron. I pull my arm away from him, my movement sharp and decisive. I think it's the perfect time and place. Tell them how you locked the exits, Marcus. Tell them how you made sure I couldn't get out. How you left me to die in there so you could secure your payout and your freedom to marry Victoria. That's a lie, he shouts, his voice cracking. The mask is slipping, revealing the frantic, cornered animal beneath. Victoria lets out a small sob, covering her face with her hands. Is it? I ask softly. I reach into the small, elegant clutch I'm carrying, the only accessory I need. I pull out a single folded document, then explain this. I hold it up for him to see. His eyes fix on the paper and the last of the color drains from his face. He recognizes it. It's the document I brought to him 2 days ago, on the pretense of finalizing my own insurance affairs. I had told him it was a simple witness statement, a formality for the insurance company to close my file, confirming his presence at the scene. He was so arrogant, so eager to be done with me that he didn't even read it. He just scrawled his signature at the bottom. You told them I was delusional, I say, my voice resonating with cold triumph. That my memory was affected by the trauma, but this isn't a memory, Marcus. This is your confession, a detailed account of how you planned the fire, how you ensured I would be trapped inside, and how you intended to use the insurance money to start a new life. All signed in your own hand. He stares at the paper, then at me, his face a canvas of dawning horror. He understands now. He understands the depth of his miscalculation. He didn't just underestimate my pain, he underestimated my intelligence, my will, my rage. You tricked me, he whispers, the words choked with disbelief. You taught me how, I reply. I learned from the best. As if on cue, a sound pierces the sacred silence of this cathedral. A distant wail, growing closer, louder. The unmistakable sound of police sirens. They turn the corner outside, their flashing red and blue lights painting the stained glass windows in frantic, strobing colors of judgment. Chaos erupts. Guests are on their feet, shouting, pointing. Marcus looks wildly from me to the cathedral doors, a trapped animal looking for an escape that doesn't exist. Two uniformed police officers stride purposefully down the aisle, their expressions grim. Marcus makes a move to run, but they are on him in a second, their hands firm on his arms. He doesn't struggle. He just sags, defeated, the fight gone out of him. All his charm, all his arrogance, evaporated, leaving behind a hollow, pathetic shell of a man. As they lead him past me, our eyes meet one last time. In them, I see the full, crushing weight of his realization. He hasn't just lost his wedding, his freedom, his money. He has lost the woman who ran into a fire for his family. He has lost the life he could have had. He finally understands, in this moment of absolute ruin, exactly what he destroyed. As the officers cuff his hands behind his back, his expensive tuxedo bunching at the shoulders, Marcus looks at me, his eyes hollow with the enormity of his downfall. "Why, Elena?" he whispers, his voice raspy. "Why do all this?" I step closer, the scent of his cologne. Once a symbol of love, now the stench of his prison. "Some scars heal, Marcus," I say, my voice just for him amidst the chaos and the flashing lights. "But the ones you can't see, the ones you carve into a person's soul, they run deepest of all. You didn't just burn my skin. You tried to burn away my worth. I just decided to rise from your ashes." He has no reply. There is nothing left to say. They lead him away. A fallen king leaving his crumbling cathedral, his bride-to-be weeping hysterically in the front pew, already forgotten. 6 months later, I'm walking down a different aisle. This one isn't cold marble, but soft green grass, leading to a simple archway of woven willow branches overlooking the ocean. The sun is warm on my skin, the sea breeze gentle. There are no crowds, no pomp, no performance. Just a small gathering of people who truly love me. At the end of the aisle stands Dr. Chen, James. He isn't wearing a tuxedo, but a simple linen suit, his smile genuine and warm. His eyes, when they meet mine, don't see a miracle of science or a dramatic headline. They see me, Elena. He saw my beauty when it was buried under layers of pain and scar tissue, when I couldn't see it myself. He didn't fix me. He gave me the tools to fix myself. From a small television in the corner of a sterile prison common room, Marcus watches the local news coverage of the miracle bride's quiet seaside wedding. The headline reads, "From tragedy to triumph, fire survivor finds true love with pioneering doctor." He sees my smile, a radiant, authentic joy he never truly knew how to inspire. He sees the man standing beside me, a man whose quiet strength eclipses Marcus's own flashy bravado. He touches the faint, fading memory of a scar on his own soul, the one I put there, and for the first time, he begins to understand the true value of what he so carelessly threw away. Victoria's fate was less dramatic, but just as complete. Her assets, inextricably linked to Marcus's fraud, were seized to pay my restitution and the insurance company's damages. Stripped of her stolen finery and social standing, she was left with nothing but the bitter memory of a happiness she had never earned. The last I heard, she was working as a hostess in a restaurant, her once perfect face now etched with the permanent lines of resentment and loss. As James takes my hand, his touch is not cold like Marcus's was, but warm and steady. A surgeon's hand, skilled and gentle. A hand that knows how to heal. The setting sun paints the sky in hues of orange and pink, the very sunset that was meant to be my end. But it's not an ending, it's a beginning. I finally understood. Love was never about having perfect skin or being someone's flawless prize. It wasn't about being seen as a hero or an object of worship. It was about finding someone who sees the scars you carry on the inside and loves you not in spite of them, but because of the strength it took to survive them. It was about finding someone who helps you heal, not someone who tells you you're too damaged to be loved. James didn't erase my past, he embraced it, and in his eyes I was finally, truly, perfectly whole.